Welcome to the Going for Two War Room. I'm Ryan Searfoss. You can find me at Foss534 on Twitter. You can find me at goingfor2.com. We are doing a Scott Fishbowl mock draft where I'm bringing on a different guest to make the picks for each one on somebody who's actually has that pick in the draft. So we got to give you guys kind of an idea of what to expect. Tonight we have Jacob Vines. You can find him on Twitter at jsnake_DFFs or DFF, and he writes for King Fantasy Sports. Jacob, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on, Ryan. Excited to talk some Scott Fishbowl.
Awesome. Now, is this your first one, or have you done it before?
This is my first one. I think I first heard about it through the commish pod that Scott and Ryan do, and then just got really interested in it, and then just glad to be a part of it, honestly.
Yeah, it's such a good time. Now, I'm in 1.1 as well, so I know you're in the group with us. What have you gotten from that group? It's been absolutely awesome because it brings together so many great minds in fantasy. Yeah,
for me, it's interesting seeing all the different resources that there is for Scott Fishbowl. Like, there's somebody made a mock draft tool that you can just do on your own. Also, seeing the different strategies. I know we'll talk about who's at the 1.01, but just hearing different thought processes behind it. Just seeing all the cool people too as well. That's been interesting.
Awesome. So with the 1.1, we're kind of going to get into it. What are some? I know it seems pretty easy here, but what are some of the guys you're considering? This is probably the easiest pick of the night.
Yeah, I do agree. So I think the three players that have been argued the most is Lamar Jackson, Christian McCaffrey, and Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
So for me, it's easily Christian McCaffrey, and I can dig into that. And that for me, it's about position scarcity at the running back, as well as I know Christian McCaffrey had an historic season last year, but I still think he can maintain and be that RB1. Like back in 2018 with his fantasy points scored, he would have still been the RB1 in 2019.
Right. I mean, with what he's doing and the volume he gets, he could do 70% of the volume is what he had, and with his receiving ability, it makes it worthwhile for him. I know myself, I've considered the quarterbacks a little bit just because of how much of a cheat Jackson is with the scoring and the the points per rushing first down. Has that made you even waver at all, or?
I'm not really wavering on that front. I think the more interesting discussion for me was the roster construction idea, to where if you take the quarterback early with the scoring, you may be getting an advantage. From what I'm seeing, though, I don't think that's quite there, just looking at some value-based drafting data and different things like that. But it is an interesting thought, for sure.
Perfect. So speaking of which, you were taking McCaffrey one. What are you doing with your next picks? Or what do you want at the turn to help build your roster the right way?
Yeah, so my perfect turn would be probably like a Drew Brees, Josh Jacobs. I will say that I think at the turn, if you're the 1.01, you have to just see what happens. Like I've had it to where Tyreek Hill fell to the end of the second. I've had it to where it's like Austin Eckler, or sometimes it's like Chris Godwin or Julio Jones. So this turn, though, decides sort of what you do later on. So I'd say perfect Aaron Jones, or probably what I'd expect Aaron Jones and like Drew Brees.
Yeah, and a lot of talk on Drew Brees with this and how he's kind of was originally viewed as a sleeper, but with the scoring and the accuracy in this, everyone I think at the turn in our group's been talking about how much they want him. What do you think our chances are?
I think once it all comes around, it's like 5%. I did have it happen in a recent mock that just started like a couple days ago, but I think people are going to catch on.
Yeah, I do too. All right, so you get the running back or get another running back quarterback at the turn. You get nervous about picking up the second quarterback on the next go around?
I'm not super nervous. There's a couple of guys I like at the 6-7 turn that I'm fine waiting on. Right here, though, if Kirk Cousins goes at 4-5, I know we're talking about a lot of the guys that get bumps in the scoring. If Kirk Cousins goes around, is still available, I'll definitely grab him. But the hardest pick for me is going between like Allen Robinson, Amari Cooper, Juju, and OBJ, because I've seen them all there at the same time.
Yeah, and that's kind of what you have to decide on. Who's going to get the first downs? Who do you think is going to get the volume at those spots? Any of them you're leaning, or?
I keep going between OBJ and A-Rob. I think with OBJ, you have the nerves of like there is a lot of weapons in that offense versus A-Rob is like the elite wide receiver on that team. So right now, because I was thinking about it before the show, I'm leaning A-Rob, but I have a lot of digging to do.
Yeah. And now, are you going to try to go like big with some home run hits, or are you going to try to play a little more safe?
So I think for me early on, it's mainly probably focusing more on being safe. Just because there's so much talent that's falling. Like I think you could say A-Rob, like, yeah, he's going to be a little bit more safe, but at the same time, he sets a nice high bar for his points. I think the sort of 6, 7, 8, 9 turn, you can go a little bit more high upside.
Okay, perfect. I know Chris McCaffrey gives you that floor where you can take some chances. And that's where you have to – I think that's going to separate everybody at the 101 who makes the exact same pick is how they're going to decipher that later. Mentioned the late-round picks. Who's one late-round sleeper you're looking at? And, you want to share with the world.
Yeah, so for me, my late-round sleeper is probably someone like Latavius Murray, just because we saw it last year whenever he came in for Kamara. He had 2 30-point games or something crazy like that. And I just think that is the type of upside you want on your Scott Fishbowl team.
Right. And the thing with Latavius Murray, he gets a huge bump being that short yardage back. So he's going to get those 3rd and 1 carries, those 3rd and 2, 2nd and 2. He's going to get those carries there. So I love that pick there.
Yeah, and he's going around round 12, according to ADP.
And that could be a huge value there. Guys like him, Sony Michel, those boring 2-down backs, get such a bump in the scoring.
Yeah.
Do you have any other either strategies, sleepers, anything else you want to share to get out there for everybody?
I would say just if you are listening and you are the 1.01, just be flexible, because I would say my preferred point is going running back, quarterback, running back for the first 3 picks. But if someone like Tyreek Hill falls, go a wide receiver. If someone like I had, it was Kyler Murray and Drew Brees fell to the 2-3 turn. So I snatched both of them up. And having that flexibility of going back to back, I think provides a nice balance with your roster construction.
Yeah, I like double tapping. Someone in our group was talking about that earlier today, about how that's going to kind of force the hand of the other people to make them make the same picks, make it run, and that pushes it for you. So I love that idea there as well. Outside of that, that's it for this pick. Tell everybody where they can find you, what you're working on.
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter at jsnake_DFF. Very active on Twitter. Also a writer at King Fantasy Sports. If anybody listening is involved in Start 2 tight end leagues, I'm about to start pushing Start 2 tight end a lot more.
Tell me a little more about that, because I'm very much against it. Sell me.
Really? I'd like to hear your take, because I just see that from what I've seen, tight end premium is a way that more raises the upper tier tight ends. And then if you go Start 2 tight end, that goes more middle and lower tier tight end raise. So then those guys are going to have a higher ADP. Also, in general, the best way to deal with tight ends is to get rid of the position completely and just go wide receivers.
I prefer that. But yeah, I just hate just starting a guy who I know I'm just hoping for 32 yards and a touchdown. That's my beef with it. But
yeah, what do you think about it becoming like the age of the tight ends, with everybody coming in and a lot of excitement with, like, I'd say even like tight end 8 to like tight end 20?
I'm starting to get there, but that is a whole episode where I'm going to have to bring you on for the armchair show for that, because that's more than our 5 to 10 minute podcast we're shooting for. But yeah, it's starting to come around. It's not where I'm saying it's an absolute shit show anymore, so I'm cool with that. But I think it's getting better, and I'm excited about it. But awesome. Well, thanks for coming on tonight. It's great having you. Again, follow me, Ryan Searfoss, at Foss534 on Twitter, and find me here for these and at the Armchair Fantasy Show, going for 2.com, and the Dynasty Draft Room. All right, peace.